Hey guys, it's Roger with another episode of Create by Village. Today we're in downtown Toronto at OCAD University meeting with Anthony Campea from aftermodern.lab, design studio owner, professor, and a crafter. Come in as we take a deep dive into his wonderful mind of creativity and design. You'll be blown away. All right, guys, we're actually walking into the studio as we speak, and we get a chance to meet Anthony in his environment. Anth, pleasure to meet you.
Great to meet you too.
Thanks for having us here today, by the way.
Absolutely.
This is a great space.
Thank you.
Really cool, raw, real, authentic, into the actual world of a creative individual in kind of the mix of design. So before we get started and kind of explain everything, you have to tell everybody, explain aftermodern.lab, what it's all about, and the story behind it, and throw in a little bit about you, because I've already explained you're professor, studio, agent, owner, as well as a crafter. So I'd love to get your back end of what the business is all about and who you are as an individual.
Yeah, aftermodern.lab is a full-service design studio. It actually started as a collaboration between me and another designer, Trevor Embry, about 14 years ago. But before that, I was working in design, before that in animation. I was always creative. I did attend OCAD here as a student first.
Very cool.
And then a few years later, started teaching here. Then Aftermodern formed, and then everything else just kept falling into place. One creative endeavor after the next.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so for someone like that who has a pretty interesting pedigree in kind of quasi-academia and then getting into design and into the, you had mentioned earlier to me, like with respects to like the movie space for a little stint that you had done, what got you inspired to start After?
The design actually came as necessity. I had bumped into a old friend, I guess, and he needed some design work, and I did something for him just while I was here, and then that turned into, oh wait, I can help someone else with this, and I can help.
Right.
And it was more about just helping people, and eventually it just, I'm helping enough people, I should probably just do this for a living.
Right.
So I started a company and saw where that went, met someone else, and we just had a really good chemistry creatively. We were strong in different things. He was very good in composition development. I was very good in typographic finishing and polishing. And together we made an incredible team, and that's what started aftermodern.lab.
And it's such an interesting story because we hear this so often where people, will ultimately get an idea stemmed from helping someone because they have a certain skill set and they're able to kind of lend a hand wherever they can, and then realize that through that compounding effect, it can be something bigger and they can, kind of cast a wider net, if they will.
Yeah.
And so while you kind of built out the initial stages of Aftermodern, what got you into the realm of like diversifying the services and really branching out to maybe an extended customer base and how to market yourself from there? Like, what got you there, and how long did it take for you to develop that sense of awareness that you need to get to that point?
I would say it was kind of happenstance. Like, I want to take credit for it and say that it was business planning, but it really wasn't.
Right.
It was kind of just solving problems as they came.
It's a good thing.
And we had a client who had looked around, couldn't find anyone to do a very specific product that she wanted. And we found out about it. We investigated for her and said, listen, we think the best way to approach this is with screen printing. And she was so delighted by what we had come up with and what we had proposed, she asked us if we could do it. At that point, we had never done screen printing other than just experimenting. And I brought on a few young talented designers from here who I reached out.
Which is such a cool integration, right?
Yeah, well, I like to give them that opportunity to really get involved in something. And so there were 3 young designers from the making part down on the 3rd floor. And one of them in particular, Vicky Toe, who's now a teacher here as well, they inspired a lot of the fabrication development that we did.
Oh, cool.
So we went from screen printing into fabricating plastics, which led to one of the exhibitions we did for TIFF, where we had a sort of a glowing wall of colored cubes.
Yes.
Vicky fabricated that. And so that just went to the next thing and to the next thing until eventually pandemic hit. And again, we had a friend who was really disappointed with the candle industry. because he had a very clear aesthetic he wanted to achieve in his house, but the candle industry only responded to bright colors, things like that. And so we did just a design research dive into the candle industry. Why does it look the way it does? Who is it catering to? Is there a reason that it's catering to that? Or is it just that's how it was and nobody changed it?
So interesting, and I'm going to get there because there's so many things around that aspect of it, not only for your own particular brand, but effectively what you just said, the ability for you guys to kind of go through this, this research journey and understanding, the market and who it's really built for, and then maybe potential changes that it needed to, changes that had to happen, I guess, within that space. But prior to that, one thing that you mentioned was, you kind of stumbled across new areas of the business that you could potentially offer to customers as you were aware of some of these requests that came up from potential clients and whatnot. Is that how the business continues to evolve? Is that clients are coming to you with a problem they may have, something they need to fix, and then I guess just through identification and kind of researching, you either could offer the service you currently provide, or you're offering a new service you'll go out and source out the right people for, and along the way you're compounding it that way.
Absolutely. And cool. I think we've become known for that now. Like our clients, it's
part of your brand, right?
Yeah, they reach out to us and like, listen, we're trying to do this. Any ideas?
Wow.
And we're just like, let me sit on it.
Right.
We'll figure something out for you. We're actually developing a product right now I can't really talk about that is absolutely nothing like what we're doing here, but again, came from just a doctor reaching out and saying, I'm trying to find this thing and no one does it. And I was like, why don't you do it? And she said, I don't know how. I said, I can help you with that part.
And that's so cool because you guys aren't really a traditional design studio, and I hate to even use that term because it's not like you have this a la carte menu of what you offer, pick one of them, and then we'll be able to quote unquote, execute on the service. You guys are really more of like this incubator where it's like you're just coming up with ideas, you kind of go through the lab and you curate something with your client based on the needs that they have and your ability to deliver something that could drive a different solution that they're not thinking of, which is so cool. Because walk us through that process. Like, I'm a new customer, I'm trying to reach out to you, I'm figuring out, I have a problem, I need some form of solution. Is it a 2-week period? Is there a month period? Like, how long do you and your team kind of sit on something before you come up with, here's the plan forward?
It depends on the product, what they're asking us to build.
Right.
And the approach, it's interesting that you said you kind of go to the lab. That's why it's called aftermodern.lab. We wanted to take
really
this
good
approach.
at what I do, by the way.
Yeah,
That's why
I know this. We wanted to take this approach of how do we not call ourselves a studio?
Right.
Because we're going to be more than that.
Got it.
And that's where the lab part came in, because we wanted to be investigating, researching, and developing.
Yeah.
And so when we're building anything, I mean, sometimes inspiration strikes and we have the exact thing just kind of hit us. And then we're finessing it as we build it out and prototype. And other times, like with the candles, we just dive into the research, and it's 3-4 months of just cataloging and pooling data and seeing what's out there to really understand the market before we touch it.
Do you often find yourself doing a similar type of service over and over again, or does each client have a very distinct difference and you're kind of changing what you're able to offer, or is there a rinse and repeat, quote unquote, if you will, that's common in the space?
I mean, the visual branding tends to be part of everything. There's always a visual element of some kind, regardless of what we're producing, and whether that's packaging development, whether that's web development.
Sure.
There's always some element that we need to touch on visually.
Right.
So we always come back to those core skills as traditional graphic designers.
Yeah.
But the investigation into these other pieces allow us to really get in touch with being makers, not just designers.
Yeah. And so, speaking to the, kind of the crafting community, if you will, the making community, the business has evolved, exponentially since, kind of pre-pandemic to post-pandemic. And one thing that we've noticed is brand really helps diversify, your product line, and it distinguishes you from everybody else within the actual space. And so what are some of the things you can provide as suggestions or what you've seen over the years that really help kind of separate someone from the pack whether it be product on the shelf, product digitally, which have two distinct experiences, as you can imagine. And so, you know, we're moving faster and faster into the kind of the digital era of shopping, and, you know, minimizing, you know, the retail experience, which I feel have two real big advantages. But walking by a product on a shelf, being able to grab, hold, see is a completely different thing than looking at something on a website. So from your perspective and the experience you've had, what kind of, you know, advice and guidance you can provide our community about how to really focus on the brand and that identity as a whole between that omni-channel approach, right?
Yeah, what we discovered was the importance of photography. Like, there is so much that people can understand from product descriptions, and there's so much they can't.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it comes down to how you're showcasing it. And even our photography with the candle products, I mean, from where we started to where we are now, probably went through 12 iterations of how we were photographing it, from how white is the background to how much contrast are you getting from a white candle to a white background. And it's little things, but it really does grab someone's attention in a digital space. In this kind of space, I find that it's really about the tactile feel of it. So we very specifically chose the stock that went into these labels, because when you pick them up, they have a texture to them. So you feel like there's something happening as soon as you touch it, because there's a response.
So again, you know, we're so involved in this space, and I'm so interested to kind of hear everyone's perspective as to what goes behind the brand development. I'm really big on branding, and I think at the end of the day, without you having the ability to try a product, brand is what's going to, quote unquote, differentiate another product next to you, for instance, right? And so you mentioned something as specific as the quality of the stock on your label, so that if you have a chance to grab this and I legitimately feel the label, I can notice a distinct difference. Also, one other thing too that I really like honing in on, and I'd love your take on this, is, you know, the labeling of the product, the naming of the product, how that plays a significant part in brand identity and overall identity within the organization. So as you continue to develop new SKUs, keeping it consistent, but having this kind of the shtick, if you will, in terms of who you are, is opportunities for people to know your product without having to touch, experience that product. And that's kind of where you become that next layer of success, is that brand awareness right off the bat. Right? And so walk us through kind of that, because I 100%, there's so much consistency happening with this product line. And I love the fact that you included candle making and a candle product line into your business, because you're taking kind of the best of both worlds. Your creative specialty within, you know, brand development, brand placement, and positioning, and putting it into a product that has a lot of emotional connection to a consumer, right? And so candles is something that creates comfort and a sense of home, if you will, and you're connecting it to a story and something that has, you know, brand awareness right away. What got you to this stage, and what made you think to yourself, I've got to now include this into my business?
So as I said, this was started off as a research dive into the candle business.
As a whole.
As a whole, just the industry.
That's right.
And what we found was that largely there was no connection between color and form. It was more directed at just achieving a certain aesthetic, soft pastels, very colorful palettes. We also noticed that typography was used as aesthetic rather than as communication. Which kind of counter to what it should be. And the last thing we noticed is that they used very specific naming that sounded overly poetic. So those were the three things we knew right off the bat we needed to counter. And so our label, our design, was almost a critique on the industry.
Oh, I love that.
So we went black and white to get away from the color. We used strong typographic sense and typesetting to keep this as a design piece that was stuck to a product rather than a product that needed a label. And then the naming, we decided to go with these colloquial metaphors. As a way of, again, kind of critiquing the industry, trying to be poetic, but in this sense being poetic to not be poetic at all. So they do reference what the products are, like a New York Minute. Everybody knows the phrase.
Sure.
It's an apple smelling candle, because New York is the big apple. So there is a tie between the name and the product, but the names were more of a continued critique on the industry. So the brand as a whole just became that.
That's
and
awesome.
when we came to the jar, that was actually a big dive, because a lot of places and a lot of companies used either color jars or fog jars, and we looked into why, and it was because there's so much imperfection in the candles. It's so temperamental how the wax cools, how the oils mix, and it can create bubbles, it can create lines.
That's right.
But as designers, we thrive on accepting the pieces that come with the craft.
Right.
We don't want to hide them because they're part of the craft.
That's right.
So we went with a clear jar so you can see all the imperfections that are in them. And we even tell people in our description, there are going to be imperfections because these are handmade in natural conditions, which are going to affect how they look from candle to candle to candle.
I think the ability to be as transparent as possible really increases the brand equity, and so that people have a connection with what they're buying. And so rather than saying, you know, which I doubt anyone will, but saying these are perfect candles, and you see air bubbles and you see lines, and you lose that experience, that connection, because that set of expectation you have.
Yeah.
Whereas you're developing and delivering something that is, to some degree, a bit of a statement accessory in the house, and fully transparent that this is a craft, they're handmade.
Absolutely.
And so enjoy the uniqueness and humbleness of this product while kind of creating relevance into your home, right? And not keeping it as mainstream as, you know, we're all used to seeing, which is amazing. I want to walk around the studio and kind of give me a little bit of what's happening here and a little of what you guys are doing, because I have really a question, you know, that I want to ask you is really, I always ask people, what are some things you've learned along the way?
Yep.
I think what's also critical to ask are, what are some of the things that you wanted to unlearn along the way that are no longer serving you purpose for the business, for yourself? And, you know, we all kind of go through this, you know, this evolution of growth as we kind of learn new things, but there's so many things that we just need to kind of shave off and be, you know, disciplined to not implement them moving forward. So what have you learned along the way that you're seeing a significant change and a shift in the space, but at the same time, what have you unlearned throughout that time?
The biggest thing I would say is the typical operation of a studio. Like when we started out, there's a way that a business needed to be managed that we learned from where we worked before we did our own thing.
Right.
All of us. And you take that knowledge into your own thing when you start it and understand that this is how the space works. Things like the hierarchy, things like who's in the limelight.
Right.
And I would probably say a year or two ago, I just realized it didn't need to be that way just because it is that way.
Right.
And so that's not only in how I treat the people who are working for me or the students that come to do things, but also in how I examine what I make.
Right.
That I take critique and feedback from anybody in the room. There is no hierarchy on who gets to talk or who gets to have
Which
ideas.
is a strong characteristic of being a great leader. And so that's really important, because while you may have a wealth of knowledge in the area that you are in, it is also equally important to learn along the way from different perspectives so that you can continue to build, you know, a strong team dynamic as well, right?
For sure.
Which
and
is
that
great.
feeds into my being a professor here.
Right.
Which then feeds back into the studio
Just that
itself.
lineage
So
all connected, yeah,
it's
which I
wonderfully cyclical.
Absolutely.
And it's part of what's allowed me to change so much.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so I always ask everybody this famous question. So our series is obviously called Create by Village.
Yep.
And so I asked the question of, what does create mean to you, as if you can wrap this up kind of thing. I know there's a million responses to it, but in addition to what create means to you, what are some of the things that we can look forward for this business as to what's coming up in the near future? What are some of the things you're working on in the lab, no pun intended, and what could we expect from you guys kind of in the short term and in the long term? That you can share with us, that's public. And obviously we'll have an opportunity to kind of show everybody where they can find you and all that. But first off, what does create mean to you, and how can you define that for yourself, being this multifaceted individual?
I would have to say create for me is problem solving.
Oh, cool.
It's like, even today, with this thing we were printing, we actually opened up this palette of paper, which from the side looks blue. And once we lifted the lid, it is yellow.
Yeah.
So we could no longer print what we were going to print, but our thought wasn't great, we have a skid of paper we can't use. It was, what are we going to make now that uses yellow paper? And so that's what create is to me.
That's awesome.
It's solving the problems that arrive.
That's awesome. And what can we look forward to in the short term, with the studio and maybe with the product line of the candles? Is there anything in the lab that's coming out in the short term that we can expect?
In the apothecary line, we are actually getting ready to sort of branch out a little.
Oh, cool.
And we're getting into doing more of just delivering the oils.
Cool.
Into diffusers and systems like that.
Amazing.
Which Village Craft is a big part of, because a few of our new scents that we're going to launch in that are coming from the oils we're getting from them.
Amazing.
We're also looking at creating a artist space on our website where we're going to allow people to sell their work through us.
Love that.
Because we have the audience, and now we're going to hand it over to people to kind of use it to springboard their own creative.
Love that, love that. Anthony, I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate your time today.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. This is very special. If you guys need to get a hold of Anthony, we are going to drop all of his information where you can find it. I highly recommend you connect with him and his team. These guys are very bright individuals that can really elevate your brand and give you just the right guidance on what to do to differentiate yourself. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned. We'll be dropping a new episode very soon. Thanks so much for checking in. Take care, guys.